Coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Perry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
It's been a while since we started off with this guy's music.
I just love everything Kevin Owens. I mean, he's turning into Big Show, heel, face, heel. But who gives a shit? He's great either way, so I'm good. And
that's the thing. He is great either way.
And you know, there's a lot of speculation now. You know, he's doing a lot of. He's fucking with the internet like he normally does. What's he gonna do? Is he the elite? We have 3 more months. We got 3 more years. So it's going to be interesting. He's dropping hints, and of course the Bucks on that side. I mean, you never know. But welcome everyone to the War Report, and welcome back, Eric.
Yes, sir.
How's it going, everyone?
Yeah, see, we can Scott Hall this shit.
You bet. That's right. Yeah. So I don't. Does it matter how long of a contract Kevin Owens signs, though, Steve? Because it seems like, as we've learned over this past year, those contracts are not exactly worth the paper they're written on. To set up what we're going to be talking about the rest of the show, strap in, folks. It's going to be one of those shows.
There, he took the camera off. He turned the camera on. Here we go.
No, it's how you know it's serious.
So we're going to start with this because
what the fuck, WWE? I love it.
Oh shit! You guys got to watch. If you're a podcast listener, watch the live stream, please. He puts these little things on here. Oh my god!
I want to start with Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Okay.
Yeah.
You're Vince McMahon, right? You've got absolutely everything you could want in a package deal. You got the look. You got the size that you like. You got the power that you like, the intensity that you like, the mic skills, and you have the in-ring talent. You have everything you needed, and everything was great. Some people say, rumor is they were released because they couldn't get over. Fuck you. They were over in NXT. They were over in NXT. Yeah. You called them up to the main roster, and you decided to start over and start with Scarlett not being around, right? So you bring them up without Scarlett. That's your first fuck up. Then you tried to change the gimmick. You fucked up. Then you tried to give them this retarded fucking mask. You fucked up. And then you got it so that the crowd couldn't get behind him because you wanted to repackage him a third time in 3 months.
And to lose on his opening debut match.
And then you release them. You release Nia Jax, who lost her hole on live television. a fucking relative to the Brahma Bull. And your tribal chief. And every fucking Samoan in the building.
Yeah, but how bad do you have to be to get fired as a Samoan in that company? Holy shit.
And you fire Nia Jax. Now listen. I've heard a couple things. If either are true, it's still fucked up. Apparently, they wrote her off. She was going through some mental shit. You know, kind of like Sasha. She needed time away. She needed whatever. They set up an entire thing to bring her back. They had a date. They had to return the whole thing. She asked for an extension to the time off. 3 days later, she gets fired. The other thing I hear is, what was the other thing I heard? I mean, it's Nia Jax.
She refused a COVID vaccine.
Right.
Oh, right. That she wouldn't get vaccinated. Yeah. So, I don't know. Tara is listening. Hey, Tara, welcome.
Hey, all right.
But so I don't know. I don't know. So you lose Nia Jax. Keith fucking Lee. You fucked up Keith fucking Lee.
Where do we begin?
Holy fucking shit. You've got the size, you've got the agility, you've got the size, you've got the agility, you've got the mic skills. You were over as fucking NXT. Another one, now we're going to call him Bearcat. It's not a porno. So I don't know where we're going with Bearcat, okay? And now you decide, okay, we're going to let him go too. Not only that, there's a long list of other people. Those are the main ones, really. El Dorito and all them. we knew they we knew they were going. I'm just so fucking angry right now. Scarlett, Karrion, Keith Lee, Mia Yim, Nia Jax. Are you fucking kidding me? Mia fucking Yim.
Yeah.
Another one that you fucked up.
They had her pretend that she either had a seizure or there were spiders crawling on her or something.
Mm-hmm.
She was like hallucinating in the ring.
That was kind of interesting.
But that's the only thing you remember about like what she did. That was her whole main roster run, was wearing this goofy fucking mask.
I want to hear everyone's comments about this fucking ridiculousness that we're talking about right now. But I just want to, there's rumors that there's more coming. This is not the end. There's at least 10 more coming. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Johnny Gargano had a dark match tryout the other night. And Johnny Gargano and somebody else who'd been hanging around, kicking around.
Why would Gargano need a tryout? Are we fucking kidding me right now?
Because
he's been with NXT for 20 years. Like,
but this is what they do. They bring them up because Vince doesn't know who these fucking guys are. You think he watches?
But he's been brought up once already.
So he's gonna. They had him do a dark match last week, and everybody's speculating. Oh no, Vince is gonna figure out how tall this fucking guy is and fire him. Like that's gonna be. Hey Ryan, we definitely got a full house now. Yeah, man.
Ryan, we're talking about this bullshit of all these releases. Most importantly, Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Mia Yim, Nia Jax, Keith Lee, Scarlett, and did I mention Scarlett? If you have anything to add to this
I feel
bullshit.
like you're really mad about Scarlett.
Ember Moon.
Yeah.
How do you fuck that up?
What the fuck? That makes me mad all over.
That was
again.
under the carpet there.
Ember Moon.
Yeah.
Oh, Ember Moon. Yeah, she's another one.
That one pisses me off.
How do you
know
fuck
what
that
though?
up?
Here's
well,
another
we know why it pisses Eric off.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
He's
But
got jungle fever.
But even BFAB, she just signed last week.
What the fuck?
A new contract.
Yeah,
She
went
had
from an NXT
30
contract to
seconds on television. Very well with Hit Row, by the way. I thought she was fantastic.
I thought she was a group like that. You need at least one woman in the group, and she's very good. I think she had the look. I think from what I've understood, she can actually flow and she can rap and do her thing. I thought she was a great pairing with them. So that made no sense either. You're right.
But
the fact that she had just
the whole group up
and then just let her go. Like, she didn't do anything that wasn't great, in my opinion, on that debut. Right. I mean, as a group, Hit Row, I'm very excited. I like everything about them. I like them all. I think that's going to be they're we talk about the young talent. I mean, these are guys that, they're going to go very far. Some more than others. Who's the main guy? Why am I blanking? Top Dollar. Top Dollar is going to be like the gold mine of the group, 100%.
He's from that A&E.
Yes, he was the one that was doing Hidden Treasures. And fun fact,
because he was like a big baby face on that. Like, he's such a likable guy, and now he's like a heel on this show.
And well, no, Hit Row's a face. Their face right now.
They're baby faces.
They're baby faces, and they're super over. But little tidbit. Our boy Big Heck,
with, Sami Zayn last week.
Our boy Big Heck met the big man and has become friendly with him. Like, they went to the bar and shit. And he said he's cool as hell. Yeah. So more to come on that.
Get him on the fucking show.
That's what I said.
He's got a toy drive coming up. We can promote his toy drive. go to his Twitter. I don't know the whole details, but Top Dollar has a toy drive that I guess he does annually. This is like the 4th or 5th year.
Mhm.
So check it out. Always up
Yep,
for
yep,
a good
yep.
cause. Yeah, I don't know this whole release situation because it's been now 70 plus people were released in 2021. Rounding up to like what 140, 160, something like that. When you count all the releases during the pandemic in 2020,
You can make an
you can
entire
have a
company out
WWE
of those
roster
people.
from it.
well, yeah, exactly. You guys both said the same thing, man. I mean, well, you did. It's called AEW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made a whole roster out of releases.
But at least during the pandemic, as much as it sucked, it made sense. These
business
budget
was
cuts
down,
are absurd.
yeah,
And I'm sorry
Budget cuts.
to get a blast email from John Laurinaitis that
Hey,
you're
guys.
fired.
Just want to let you
Well,
know.
it doesn't matter who it comes from. It's still shitty to
Just
get
wanted
it in
to
an
let you know
email.
that
Period.
people
Email,
not coming
that's
your
worse
way.
than
Just
getting
budget
a
cuts,
voicemail from Eric Bischoff. I'm sorry.
Would you rather get a FedEx on your wedding day?
Well,
Listen-
now, so Tony Khan has
This
already
one had
been.
my name on it. This was a blast email. These
Yeah,
weren't
yeah.
individual emails. It was a
It was a
blast.
copy and paste.
This
Yeah.
month's birthdays, and by the way, 8 people are fired. Go fuck
There's
yourself.
only one name that belonged on that list, and that's Eva fucking Marie. I'm sorry.
Oh, at least okay. We can have one.
There was
minor celebration.
positive. Yeah,
That's a
one
bit-
positive.
One
We had
positive
one
amongst
victory.
all the sacrifices. And Dewdrop didn't get fired, so good for
Yeah.
her for not getting dragged down in the bullshit of Eva Marie.
Well, so Tony Khan has already now been pretty public about the releases and said there's quite a number of them that he's looking to capture.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see which ones he goes with. I did hear a little theory, and this is fucking great because we have pretty much the entire panel here. They're stirring up. I'm jumping around a little, so bear with me, but we're Eric Bischoff and Tony Khan have been kind of going at it, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
You guys know about this
Yeah.
a lot on social media, but the reality is they're very close. And there's a theory going around that this is all a ruse and a work because Eric Bischoff is going to bring in a new invasion into AEW. And it could be started
Don't
with,
do it.
you know, like it was once Hall and Nash. This time it would be maybe Braun Strowman and
Bray Wyatt.
I
now Bray Wyatt
know.
seems to be off the table because it looks like he's now got a movie deal. He's not coming back to pro wrestling until that's done. So Bray Wyatt's probably we're not going to see Bray for a while in a wrestling ring. That's just my opinion. But what are we thinking about that kind of NWO style type of with Eric Bischoff leading the pack kind of thing? How do we feel about that? If it's
Back
legit.
then it felt real. Like here, the thing is, when
did
Scott
feel real.
Hall and Kevin Nash jumped, it felt real to the point where the WWF had to issue lawsuits against WCW for certain things, and the way they were implying that they were like employed, like were still WWF employees.
True.
And there was the DX thing, and like they would show up at each other's shows, and like there was the famous moment where DX had their tank / Jeep outside the doors, and Hall and Nash were asking Eric to let him in, and Turner executives wouldn't let the DX guys in, and the whole
And
thing.
Hall and
Like-
Nash, without their own doing, ended up getting more money because of all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, they were very good negotiators. Not to get too off track, they had a favored nations clause where if somebody came in as a new hire, for example, Bret Hart, and they started making more money than Hall and Nash, then they could get their contracts renegotiated to match the new top star's top salary. So
But
they were
W-
always making more money whenever a new guy
But
came in.
WCW was so afraid that Hall and Nash were going back to WWE, so they gave them more money
And they
because
they
of the whole
thought they were
thing
going to go back and they
with the
re-signed him.
fake Razor and fake Diesel.
Oh yeah, when they announced the fake Razor. But here's the thing: it
That
all
was
felt
so funny.
real. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
WCW got worked by WWF still using the copywritten names, but you're not
You're
gonna
right.
have that sense of realism.
That was
If Eric
that
comes
was
in with a group of guys, it's gonna feel like Eric's coming in with a group of guys. It's not.
you
gonna
know
feel
what though,
like a true
you're
invasion.
right, because the truth of the matter is you're right. Realism to it never gave you that much of a feeling of realism ever in wrestling. Like that came closest to the line as you could possibly get, because it was even taboo for somebody to mention WCW in a WWF ring or vice versa, or name Vince McMahon, or, you know, it's like, and then things got pretty loosey-goosey kind of deal. And, you know, and so, yes, it was, you know, especially when you knew them as Hall and Nash not too long, or Razor and Diesel less than 30 days before. And then, you know.
But here's the thing also, too. Back in those days, we didn't know what happened to wrestlers when they came off, when they were off screen. Yeah. We didn't know if they were fired, if they were hurt, if they were anything. Everything is so
social media,
freaking public right now that even if Eric Bischoff and they decided to do something like that, there's no element of surprise anymore, because we know we have to wait 90 days for a contract or something like that. It's not an invasion anymore because we know too much.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong though, but I'm pretty sure that whole deal with Hall and Nash leaving and going to WCW is what ultimately started the 90-day no-compete deal in the WWF contracts. I don't even think that was a thing until that started happening.
But what I'm saying is, if you weren't in Madison Square Garden that night, you didn't know about the breaking of the fourth wall. You had no idea that any of that stuff was even remotely possible or could even happen. The only other time that happened was when Lex Luger was on a taped Monday Night Raw and then showed up during the commercial. Was it Lex Luger and Rick Rude? Those were the only other times.
That was at the Mall of America.
Yeah,
that was the debut WCW Nitro show when they went live on Monday nights.
But again, no 90-day clause contract then either.
Right.
Well, right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, all of that is what got Vince to start changing the contracts, because that shit was happening.
We had no idea that Rick Rude or Lex Luger were even no longer employed with the WWF at that point.
Well, right. But that's correct. But that's all what made it so real.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When you see fucking Scott Hall coming through the crowd, and he's wearing all black, and he's not all Rico Suave, and he's all, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like, you don't know why I'm here, or, you know, whatever.
You know who I am,
but you don't know why I'm here. Right.
I'm here.
I mean, it was so great. And then Nash comes in with a fucking baseball cap and jeans and the hair down, and you're like, holy shit, it's Big Daddy Cool. And it's like, no, it's fucking Kevin Nash. And, you know, it all worked. So it will never, and we've had this conversation.
The only way it would work right now is if somebody decided, because you can not, the idea is that for the 90 days, whatever it is, they're paying you. You're still receiving your paycheck every 2 weeks to not appear on television with somebody else until the end of that 90 days. If you decline that, most people don't, because they want 3 extra months of a paycheck. I get it.
Well, you get literally 3 months off and you get paid.
But the only way it would actually shock somebody is if, like,
you
Kevin Owens, for example, right? If Kevin Owens' contract comes up whenever, and then he just decides I'm not taking the 90-day clause, and then shows up on AEW, that would be like, whoa.
Like what Adam Cole did. Nobody knew Adam Cole was coming that night.
Yeah, oh man, it was so good because everybody was expecting Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
And when you get, it's all about the boom, and then the crowd like just, but then do you still get Danielson? Like, that was crazy.
That was a good double fake out there.
Like Adam Cole, I mean, if it was maybe 2 weeks earlier that he lost to Kyle.
Yep.
That's what I mean. In that relative quickness, then something like that could work. Yeah.
Again, because those NXT contracts were different. I don't know what they're going to look like now, but they were.
Wasn't there a report that they changed them?
Well, Scarlett said on her Twitter she only has 30 days.
Yeah, so she was.
I don't know if that's for the past 2 months that she wasn't on Raw, or if that's her NXT contract, because
they might not.
I don't know if they should have signed her up with.
Well, but she never got brought up. She was still right. She was still, so technically it's been about 2 months. We haven't even seen her. So
she did do dark matches prior to Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, but she never really debuted. Like, that was
there was an official call up.
You know what?
Like-
Screw it up. I said about another like contract or whatever someone brought up. You fire fucking Davey Boy Smith's kid.
I was just gonna say they had him. First of all, he was signed since April.
Yep.
Yeah.
April, and they didn't bring him on TV. There were no promos. He was like on their
So
social
stupid.
media thing,
Yep.
The Bump, which I have so many problems with the name The Bump. For that fucking show. I don't want to get into it right now because it will derail the show. Just know that whenever I hear about that stupid show, and it's like it's all these fucking hipsters, Zoomer, like I'm 19 and I'm cool because I know who Jake the Snake is. It's like, who the fuck are you? Like you don't know anything about wrestling. You shouldn't be on this fucking show. And I'm sorry, we got to get back on topic. How do they have Harry Smith under contract since April, and they didn't do anything with him? No promos. He couldn't even come out and be like, "Oi, I'm the son of the British Bulldog, mate." And then like do something. I don't know, something
Like
What the
something
fuck?
with Natalia because they're cousins, you know.
Yeah. I don't understand the logic of signing that guy from. He had just gotten off a really good run in New Japan for a couple
Yep.
years.
Yeah.
He did the Bloodsport pay-per-views, which is the all grapple. It's very MMA style. There's no ropes. And he did really good in the Bloodsport stuff. He like changed. He used to try and wrestle like his dad with a lot of power moves. He learned a lot of wrestling, like legit ground grappling and jiu-jitsu that he's now applied to his wrestling style, which is awesome. And he's improved so much. And it would be nice to see him used somewhere. And, you know, you'd think the place that treated his father the best out of any company would be the place where they would treat the son with some respect. But they had him since April. He collected his paycheck. He did a Lanny Poffo. If you remember, Lanny Poffo in WCW got signed to be the new Gorgeous George because Macho Man bought the rights to Gorgeous George from the family of the original Gorgeous George. Lanny dyed his hair blonde, signed this like literally $1 million contract or whatever it is, like some big number contract, and they never used him. And then they used the name Gorgeous George for Stephanie Bellers, who was Macho's girlfriend. But anyway, that's what they did with Harry Smith. They signed him. He collected a paycheck for almost the entire year, and then they released him. So, I mean, good on you for getting a paycheck, but like,
He deserves so much more.
you shouldn't just get a paycheck. You shouldn't just exist and receive a paycheck. You should he's a
do
wrestler.
something,
He should
do
be out there
anything.
wrestling. What the fuck?
I mean, the kid's good too.
And that's the thing. It's not like a couple years ago when he was still rough around the edges. He's very good now.
He's gotten so much better. Even his like, I was gonna say, was it the Hall of Fame induction or whatever? Like his Hall of Fame induction that he did for his dad and everything. He was fantastic.
Yeah,
he's gotten so much.
You know what
better.
though? It's not only that. See, this is what bothers me though. People act like we don't know who the fuck he is.
Right.
He
like
was
Braun
he was in
Breaker?
a like. Do we not remember the new foundation? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I just like this is so fucking stupid. You signed him. You should have put him directly into the ring and start doing shit. Instead, you let him sit in catering and then you fucking release him. It just makes no fucking sense.
They don't even get to eat in catering anymore. They have to go buy at the concession stand.
I just don't fucking get it. I don't understand some of the decisions, and I'm getting nervous now about, you know, what's next to come, because quite honestly, they fired Samoa Joe once. I could see that happening again now. You know, Triple H got him back, and then they wrote him off or releasing,
Sami
whatever the
Zayn.
fuck you want to go. Well,
Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Johnny Gargano. It's not even like firings now. This is going to be people's contracts are going to come up, and they're just not going to re-sign them.
Yeah.
whatever the fuck we want to call it. It's just bullshit.
Yeah.
But this is supposedly now
Or you-
supposed to be happening every 6 months.
They're renegotiating contracts, which is like, could you imagine you in your personal job as a listener?
Every
But you know
6
what though?
months,
If I'm
there's
a
new-
pro wrestler, you know what though? If I'm a pro wrestler right now, I wouldn't give a fuck. Because
Well,
at the end of the day, you give me my 6 months, I do what I can. I'm on the grandest stage for 6 months, and if not,
Right.
I go to Tony Khan, I go to AEW, or I go to fucking New Japan. You know what I mean? Like
Precisely.
now there's somewhere else to go, and you got a guy that's willing to hire these guys. You know, it's or at least give him a chance.
But
So-
that's what the frustrating thing is, because WWE, WWF, whatever, it used to be the place to be, that this is where you wanted to go. These new young guns don't even want to go there now.
this is true. The goal, like, and you see it on social
Look at
media.
the perfect example of that, Cat, is look at the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
These guys have been offered WWE contracts time and time again for a lot of money, and they have turned it down because they'd rather do something like AEW and be a part of something that they can start and make special. And look what they've done between him, Cody Khan, all of them, Kenny Omega, God bless them.
Yeah, I fucking that's professional wrestling. It's not sports entertainment. You want to be a wrestler, WWE is not the place to do it anymore.
And that's the difference. You're right. That's the difference. Don't get me wrong. If you're a pro wrestler, I still think, I mean, there's a small exception like the Young Bucks or this and that, but you got to want to be able to make it to the WWE, just at least so it's on your resume. Former WWE superstar, because they are still the pinnacle, you know, even though, and listen, we keep saying, listen, well, see what I did there?
You beat me to it.
The pinnacle, the elite. Hey, now, I just, it's a great time to be a fan now because we do have the other show. WWE, even though we've spent the first 26 minutes really shitting on WWE for their decision making, the product has been getting better. They are starting to build some of that new, fresh, young talent, which I'm excited about. The stories are getting a little bit better, but everything is still. But the point is, for the first time in a long time, we can actually see that there are changes being made. And it looks like it is starting to get a little bit better. But AEW right now is still killing it on all cylinders, and WWE has to start catching up. We have spent the first half an hour of our show going over this. I have waited all fucking week to get that off my chest, so thank you. What do we want to go into? Do we want to talk about a little SmackDown action and then move into Raw? I got to be honest with you. This week, I kind of felt Raw was a little stronger than SmackDown. And typically I feel the other way. There were some funny moments, though, on SmackDown. But we'll get into that. But I guess we'll start with SmackDown. What is everyone's thought? Eric, what are your thoughts? Let's start with you. Did you watch SmackDown? And I'm sorry, the graphic. Well, actually, go ahead. Eric, you.
If he did, he watched it on mute.
You know what? I honestly don't even remember what happened.
All right, so it left a great impression on Eric. So that
listen to it. It's got Pat McAfee.
I'm trying to stay away from that topic because we could spend an entire show on this topic. I think.
Just ask Eric what he would rather listen to than Pat McAfee talking.
Let's play that game. Yes, Eric.
What would you rather listen to, Eric?
I'd rather listen to Fran Drescher and Gilbert Gottfried have sex. And listen to this guy's voice.
That'd be entertaining.
Man. I don't know, man. It's everyone's. You've always said everyone's entitled
every week.
Everyone's entitled to their.
The highlight of that was when he said that at my house. Then Justin goes, "Ooh."
The
visual, yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Although,
Mr. Sheffield.
Little off topic, the cat's son thought I was dead.
Yeah, well,
when you fell asleep. Yeah.
Here's the thing, like the Miz thing, I could always appreciate with Eric. I get it, right? Like, you either like him or you don't. It is what it is. Everyone's entitled to their thing. The Pat McAfee, I will never understand because he has just, in my opinion, brought new life to the show.
Oh yeah.
And even Cole has said that he has kind of made him want to stay and continue doing it, even though apparently he has come out saying he's lost 40% of his hearing now.
65%.
Or even worse. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, we know Eric's opinion.
I'm the huge Pat McAfee fan, so they're never going to get me to say anything otherwise about it. That's probably the only reason one of the exciting reasons to turn on to SmackDown, in my opinion. Anybody that in the middle of a show says, "Where's Jack Tunney when you need him?" is okay in my book. That was freaking brilliant the other night.
Do you think it's the Delco, Philly, whatever accent that's turning Eric off on this? Like, I'm trying to figure out what it is. It's like
Ever since he came on,
home, like he has a weird
like those like pre-show things. I'm like, who the fuck is this annoying actor?
I was so happy to hear the name Jack Tunney. Because and it's how many of those people have no idea who that is?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people were Googling after that.
But that was priceless. Sonya Deville, what a and he pulled a Gorilla Monsoon. He goes, "What a miscarriage of justice."
Fantastic.
I don't know.
Best.
That is one topic. We're going to move on because, again, we'll spend the rest of the show on this. And quite honestly, Eric and I will forever butt heads on this one because I think just the fact that he gets up on the fucking table and he dances and sings to Shinsuke and gets the crowd involved. He has his own entrance now and he gets the whole crowd pumped up before they go live. Like, I don't know. And I was not a fan of him, so he changed me in that respect. But again, moving on, SmackDown. Overall, so obviously the show started with Roman, right? That's always a home run. And then him, kind of abusing the Usos for losing. And then Heyman kind of, getting on him a little bit as always. It winds up ending that there's going to be a match between Jimmy and King Woods. And King Woods. The whole kneeling and the bowing. And you obviously knew there was no kneeling or bowing that's going to happen. But the whole show was kind of based around that. But there were some decent moments, I guess, of the show.
Sami Zayn with Hit Row was fun.
Sami Zayn is gold, and that's why he's another one that shouldn't go anywhere, quite honestly. I just think he's so funny.
Contract is coming up, bro.
Yeah,
I know, but he's so fucking funny, and that segment with Hit Row was great. I thought we would get a little more out of Hit Row, but it is what it is. They're continuing this whole fucking Naomi bullshit with Deville or whatever. I complained about it last week. I fucking hate this storyline. I just
title storyline or what is it?
No, it's Naomi and Baszler, but Baszler's basically the other one's bitch and doing her. It's stupid.
That's why we had the Jack Tunney reference because Naomi won the match with Shayna Baszler. Then Sonya comes out and says that her foot was under the rope, even though she was the one making the pin, and restarted the match. And then Shayna got her to tap out. So it was like, that's what it goes. Where's Jack Tunney when you need him? This is a miscarriage of justice. That's where that
Naomi just needs to join the bloodline and call it a fucking day.
Yes.
But I can't. It doesn't matter if it's men or if it's women or whatever it is. The heel bad guy authority figure that screws over the babyface and restart. It's been done to fucking death over the last 30 years. We need to come up with something new. I really appreciate that Tony Khan only shows up to make decisions and say, hey, this match is getting signed. He doesn't come out and make a fucking spectacle of himself as the owner or general manager. And
not during the show, but he usually does after the show. He'll come out and greet the crowd and shit. But
but he doesn't make the show about
Tony Khan
of the show. The problem that sets is that the perception of WWE is that it's an evil corporation. Whether that's true or not in reality, on TV, every employee of WWE corporate's an asshole. Vince McMahon, Stephanie, Shane, Triple H, they're all assholes.
Yeah.
And they screw people out of matches and they hire crooked GMs and they hire crooked referees and Brad Maddox and Scott Armstrong,
all the crooked,
whatever the fuck else. So you've set it up that the fans are against they're for the wrestlers, but they're against your company.
Yeah.
And AEW just feels like there's no WWE fights its fans when they want something. It's like, no, you don't want this. You want this. You don't want Rollins and Ambrose. You want Roman Reigns. You don't want Roman Reigns as a heel. You want him as a babyface. Oh, but now you want him as a heel. So AEW doesn't have that kind of antagonistic relationship with its audience that WWE currently has. And I think part of it is the heel, because they've been doing it since 1997. 1997. Give it the fuck up. We don't need an evil general manager on every show. I feel like that's part of the problem.
I mean, even now, that's kind of what's happening with what's his face on Raw.
Adam Pearce?
Yeah, Pearce is kind of being heelish now, pulling Dominic out of and having him go against Lashley, and like I don't know, it's just whatever. So moving on.
Can I ask something about Survivor Series?
What?
Can I ask something about Survivor Series?
Sure.
If Adam Pearce is general manager of both brands, why does the Survivor Series matches matter?
I don't think it ever mattered.
That's actually a fair question.
It matters even less.
Actually, brilliant.
No,
Ryan,
that's actually a brilliant question, because he said there, that he has to make sure that Raw's dominant like they were last time. But if you're the GM of both, then why would you give a fuck?
Right. And it shows how much they gave a fuck that they randomly announced the Survivor Series teams at
on
5
Saturday
o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, why can't we have qualifying matches or something?
Yeah, they didn't
like,
have even Ricochet. And Ricochet, who's Mr., I'm just happy to be here and collect my paycheck guy, asked on Twitter, like, hey, what happened to Survivor Series qualifying matches? That was part of the draw of watching Survivor. You built up to see who was on the team. It's so simple. This has been the Survivor Series has been going on since like 1987. You haven't figured this out yet? It's about the teams, and can teams coexist against the other? Even though they're baby faces, they might have an issue. And even though they're the heels,
they're just showing you.
Yeah,
they're just showing you that they don't give a shit, and that's part of the problem. Like something like this. This is one of the big four. Like, this is an important pay-per-view.
To announce the Survivor Series teams, there was pomp and circumstance to it.
We used to have a fucking egg that would hatch. I mean, like, right. So anyway, moving on. We go further into SmackDown. Shotzi cuts her first heel promo backstage. I'm not a Shotzi fan, as I've said many times over, but I got to tell you, it was a decent promo. She's now not going to have the tank with her, apparently. I guess that's part of her face persona. Then we had Cesaro and Manzor versus the new duo of Humberto and Garza.
But he's not Garza anymore. Have you seen the roster website?
What
Angel
is it?
Garza is now just Angel.
Yeah, they're just Angel and Humberto now.
Ew, excuse me.
And Big E said the thing to Angel Garza on Twitter.
Is he just big?
He goes, "Welcome to the club."
Yeah.
No, because he lost Langston, remember?
Yeah, check in with Cesaro. He's like, the meetings are every first Wednesday of the month. Check in with Cesaro for which food and drink you need to bring.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, what are they doing? And then, you know what? In 3 weeks, they're just going to have last names again for no reason. Like Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
Like, they're just going to have last names again. But if Big E was just big, I'd love it. Big E Langston, Big E, your WWE champion, big. And he just comes out.
No, it's just going to be Biggie.
Just Biggie. Oh, baby.
Biggie, can't you see? Sorry.
I would be okay with that. It'd be something different. But anyway, yeah, so SmackDown, spoil it for me, because I've been,
Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, which was a good match, but obviously you knew Ricochet wasn't going to win. But the finish was good. Ricochet came off the top rope and he ran into a Claymore. So it was like a mid-air Claymore, which is cool. And so now apparently Baron Corbin has happy talk on SmackDown. So it's happy talk with Baron Corbin and this other fucking guy. So their guests were
Irish and neither fighting nor Irish. Discuss.
So they had the Viking Raiders as guests. The Viking Raiders didn't want to talk; they just wanted to wrestle. So they had a match, which was a great match. The commentary during the match was great too. But the Viking Raiders won via count out. They got themselves counted out because they were getting destroyed by the Viking Raiders. So I mean, the finish sucked. But and then you had Woods versus Jimmy Uso, which was a great match.
Yes.
A very good match. Caliber of a main event. And then of course Kofi. King Woods got the win. And then Jimmy, I believe, had to bend a knee, and Roman came out of left field with the punch, and it never happened.
Okay, so I didn't think so. By the way, Tara had a question from a few minutes ago. I believe the answer to this question is...
Hold on. Oh, you got it?
It's still
Corey
Reggie.
Graves.
No, it's not Corey Graves.
No, it's Reggie.
It's Reggie.
I thought Corey won.
The 24/7 title changed hands about 15 times.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And
it took a total of 9 changes last night.
And then it went back to Reggie?
Well,
after R-Truth, what did they just upgrade? Black
R-Truth didn't win it last night.
After Corey Graves won it, then he got rolled up by Braxton.
Mm-hmm.
Saxon. So Saxon and Byron's celebration was absolutely amazing. Like, he started screaming and like this and that.
Nerd.
But then ultimately it got changed another like 4 or 5 times. In the end, it went back to Reginald, and that's how it ended. I hate the whole 24/7 title. I hate the whole thing. That segment was absolutely hilarious. And then the commentary was great because they get back to the commentary, and the middle guy, the new guy, goes, "Well, I'm now sitting with 2 former champions. How was your championship reigns, guys?" Or shit like that. It was hilarious. But it was a good segment.
Oh my God. All right. So yeah, Reggie's the new R-Truth. They just bring the title back to him.
Yep.
So
shame for R-Truth.
Moving on to Monday Night Raw. And of course it kicks off with Vince's favorite, Seth Rollins.
Oh, apparently this week, every week is a new pop culture reference. Like a couple weeks ago, he was dressed like Cruella DeVille. This week, he was dressed like Paddington Bear. With the red boots and the blue jacket.
All that was missing was a rain hat.
Right. Yeah, try watching that in a house full of kids, because they all went to Paddington.
So they all thought Paddington as well.
Yep.
All right. So at least I think everybody caught on. It was Paddington. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I don't discount the guy's ring work. He's very good. He's a very good wrestler. But then I just don't ever want to hear him. I just don't want to hear him talk ever. I just don't care. Like, there's nothing that Seth Rollins has ever said that made me care about a promo that he's done. It's
really true. He needs a manager. Wrestle. He just needs somebody to be the mouthpiece and just wrestle. I really, you're right.
What if they did the whole Triple H and Steph thing with him and Becky again, but they're both actually like real wrestlers, and like Becky can talk for him? She could make.
I think Becky's a better promo than Seth.
Oh,
I'm trying to feel this comment, Tara. Really?
Well, no, I don't think it was a bad look. I just think the look he was going for was...
I thought he looked pretty fucking stupid, personally.
But that was the point, right?
Well, right. I mean, that is the point.
Just a
like, how much stupider can I look?
I thought the Messiah was a weird gimmick for him. This is ridiculous, beyond weird.
Yeah, it's every week it's getting more and more silly.
Yeah, they make me look uglier, put me in this uglier shit by the week, and they make my wife look smoking hot every time she freaking comes out.
She had a baby.
Yeah.
Did you see that video? Did you see the video?
Oh, yes. Yeah, a fan.
Your baby's so cute. I know. She came from
me. Yeah, it was so funny. So... that segment, so Rollins comes out, cuts another promo, gets interrupted by KO. He gets interrupted by KO, right? And then, it was stupid, the whole segment, but it was the way they kicked it off. But it set up the main event. But then the first real match was an 8-man tag. So it was RK Bro and the Street Profits versus AJ, Omos, and Ziggler and Rude. Actually was a pretty good match. Anyone catch it? I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was a good match.
It was a solid match, just unnecessary.
Well, it's a way to get them
like,
all TV time.
Yeah.
Right. I just, oh man, it's so weird. Like the Dirty Dogs, Rude and Ziggler.
Oh, that is a stupid name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it
it's
is
better than Rude and Ziggler.
Yeah.
That's all they were called for like 2 years before they called.
You're a Rude Ziggler.
Yeah, just Rude Ziggler.
They're Wriggler.
But how many times? Wait a minute. All these writers, they got 20 writers for each show, and it takes Eric to come up with that.
Eric's spitballing a better idea.
And
Eric, we missed you.
But they fucked up like Fandango and Breeze. Why didn't they call them Febreze?
Oh my
God! Get a sponsorship with the air.
Oh, that would have been fucking funny.
And have them come in every so
just spray people with Febreze.
You know what? Since we're talking about this, the 8-man tag, it reminds me that it's another stupid thing where you put on these decent like 8-man tags with somewhat of a story going on, but you can't do that for Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't get it.
Point to Eric. Yeah.
Or they could have had the entire team qualify.
Yeah, right. And then they could have had this as like the Survivor Series match. And then there's like, because these guys have been feuding for a couple weeks, it makes sense that they're on opposite teams. And
do it like elimination in the people remain and have the last 4 remaining be your Survivor Series.
They could have had
team.
like the last people, like eliminate the other team, and everybody that's still standing gets to be in Survivor Series.
Yeah,
or something.
Well, RK Pro wouldn't be in a Survivor Series traditional match because they're going to have to go against the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Oh, are we still doing that?
Well, Charlotte and Becky got announced last night, so I'm assuming
I just didn't know if we're still doing
it.
Right.
The match is started.
I hope so, because I want Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, there's no tomorrow, because that would be the Intercontinental Champion versus the U.S. Champion, and that is enough to make me want to watch the show.
Yeah, that was
Usos and
when you get your
RK Bro would be fun too.
Chili's. Yeah, man. I so if that's the case, then yeah, they wouldn't be on. But then why
you could get them out by DQ or something?
But
there's ways around it.
Right before Survivor Series, if you're not going to have them in, like, if they're not going to face each other at Survivor Series, what's the point?
Just stop the Raw versus SmackDown thing. There's no storyline.
Well, no, because in the men's match, 8 out of the 10 were on SmackDown at one point in the last year anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Like,
there's that too.
Yeah. 3 of the guys on the Raw team are from SmackDown, and then the other 5 are already on SmackDown now. So who gives a shit? Like, it's not about brand.
Like, it would have been better if they kept New Day on Raw.
The sole survivor gets a title shot. Make it mean something.
Yeah.
They need to do.
God, can you imagine if they did that last year with Lana?
She's the best.
That would have been something.
So,
number 1.
Going back to Raw, the next part of Raw is this bullshit with Pierce, wanting to ensure that Raw wins against his other brand, and has Dominic face Bobby Lashley, which obviously we already know where that's fucking going. So Dominic gets absolutely dominated, and of course, via submission, Lashley has now replaced Dominic in the Survivor Series match. I just don't get it. It just fucking stupid.
Building new stars for the future, huh, Steve?
Yep.
Is that what they're doing?
Well, you know what? Listen,
stars for the future.
Well, yeah, they are. Listen, Dominic's paying some dues. You know. Yeah. I mean, listen, on paper, it does make sense. Why would you have Dominic over Bobby Lashley? But then you should have had it that way in the first place. You know what I mean? So you shouldn't have pre-announced anything, you fucks. But, you know.
Dude, I saw a shirt. Did you guys? I don't know if you've seen this I had a Facebook advertisement come up for a T-shirt, and it's a picture of the Steiner, Rick and Scott Steiner from the 1980s. And it has in big, like, 80s font, Breaker Brothers.
Oh.
Just
no, but I want to see it.
B-R-E-A-K-K-E-R Brothers. I'm like, oh no, somebody's in on the joke. Like, I almost bought it. because it would have like Breaker Brothers makes like why do they call I still don't get it.
Yeah.
Just call him Steiner. Anyway,
so now moving on, we have Big E versus Chad Gable.
And that was
a
I mean
fun
there
match.
was that
I didn't really understand it though, like why
Yeah,
we
I
got
agree.
there.
Yeah, me
Oh,
neither.
Like
Yeah,
on
yeah,
paper,
yeah.
Chad Gable should never be facing the heavyweight champion. I'm sorry, he's not a.
He's not. He hasn't been built up to that level yet.
Yeah,
but I mean,
that-
like technically, he's a Division I college athlete. Like he's an NCAA champion. Like he was on the Olympic team. Like, like they should theoretically,
Yeah.
he should be able to compete with him. But according to storyline, he hasn't been able to keep up with skill wise on TV.
But he did so good last week against Finn Balor. That was a really good match.
That was the match of the night.
Yep,
That match.
agreed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I think ultimately this was setting up down the road a bigger match between Big E and Otis because they did have the stare down and the ref was able to keep everything copacetic. But I think that's eventually headed that way. I'm also hearing rumors that Kurt Angle is open to coming back as a manager and manage Gable and Otis. Eric, go ahead.
What I already forgot what I was going to say. Oh, ruined gimmicks. Like what the fuck? They ruined Otis. I'm sorry, they ruined it.
Yeah, 100%. You won't hear any arguments from me on that one.
Yeah, I don't know what they had
They
something
took all
and
the
then
things that made him interesting, and then they took them away.
Well, that sounds like vintage WWE, unfortunately.
Like when they did
Nancy,
Karrion Kross.
Tucker.
yeah, Karrion Kross.
Like I'm sorry, we gotta loop back to that for a second. They had a guy that was in good shape. He was built like Randy Orton. He was like he looked like a young Randy Orton, and he has a hot blonde that came with the package. Like I mean, that's everything Vince McMahon loves.
You fucking tell me that he's not
Sonny,
over, that he's
Deborah,
not over,
Sable.
that he's not over. And he is very much over. And then you bring him up to the main roster and you try to change everything, and then he's not so over. And then you release him because he's not so over. Why do you fix?
You see
Why do you fix what isn't broken? Do not fix what's not broken, you stupid motherfuckers. It bothers me when you fuck up talent like Karrion Kross and Keith Lee. Forget everybody else. But those two and Scarlett, she goes with Karrion always. But what the fuck?
Did McMahon not see Scarlett give Scott Steiner a lap dance? You're like, watch that. And that was,
I don't know. I think here's the problem. They signed that girl that was married to Darby Allin, and she was the one that pulled out the dirty tampon and threw it at somebody in a wrestling match.
Priscilla Presley.
She didn't throw it at somebody. She stuffed it down her
like a mandible claw.
Yeah.
And now she's one half.
And now she's NXT Tag Team
Women's
Champion.
Tag Team.
Now she's NXT Women's. She took the tampon from her. You know
Vince's
what? I'm not going to say it.
References are changing
And
over the years.
stuffed it in the
dirtier
girl's
as an old
mouth.
man. Scarlett was too clean cut
That's
for
the
an
Is she
easy
really-
girl like Gigi Dolan?
Wait, the most important thing from that entire conversation, is she still dating Darby Allin?
They're divorced.
They're divorced.
I didn't know they were married.
They got married. Yeah, they got engaged and married very quickly. They were married for like 2 years. Or so,
Is she the one that was making claims against Darby?
No.
Okay.
Somebody else.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
They him and her, like in those videos where he's hanging out with like JPEG Mafia and all these other people. She's there. They just choose, like, she's in the background. Like they're not together, but they're still like friends.
I was gonna say it looks like they're still mutually, like there's no animosity between the two of them or anything like that at all. Yeah.
Right. So we're starting to get to the top of the hour. So the next segment on Raw was the Colossal 24/7. If you want to know exactly the order, Drake won, then Tozawa, then Graves, then Saxton, then Maverick, and then Reggie won the title back. So moving on, now you had Liv Morgan versus Ria Ripley versus Bianca versus Carmela versus Elena. Winner gets a future title shot against Big Time Bex, who was doing commentary, which was great. The commentary was great through the whole segment. The interaction with her and Saxton and Graves and all them, it was fantastic. The match actually was pretty decent. Bianca had some really great moments in that match. There were some great spots in the match. And ultimately, they gave it to Liv Morgan. And at Survivor Series, Liv Morgan versus Big Time Bex. I'm happy for Liv Morgan. I think
it's not a Survivor Series. Survivor Series, she's not like Charlotte. No.
Oh, my bad.
I think she gets it on a Monday Night Raw between now and Survivor Series because they announced it last night that it's going to be Charlotte and Becky for Survivor Series.
Okay, well, I'm fine with that too. So in any way, even if she's getting it on Raw or whatever, I'm happy for her. She's been putting in the work. She's been really working at this real hard for a long time. There's a good documentary about her on the network. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. I don't think she's going to win. I think Big Time Bex is going to keep the title, and that's cool. But I'm happy for her. I think she's getting that moment. She's getting it without the Riot Squad. She's getting it on her own. I'm happy for her. I think that's a solid move. And again, young talent. But we have to know she's not going over. I mean, I don't think. I'd be very surprised. And then the main event.
But she's going to build up more of a fan base because of it, though, because she's going to be the underdog.
Yes, 100%. And then you have the main event, Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Another great match. We've seen this match 1,000,001 times between them, but they always deliver. It was a great match. Big E was ringside during the match. And then in the end, Owens loses via count out because he couldn't get around Big E fast enough to get in time. So another match that ends in a count out. Rollins laughs all the way up the ramp. And then Owens snaps and destroys Big E. And we are now back with a Kevin Owens heel turn, hence why we opened the show with Kevin Owens this evening. I thought that was a great segment. The heel turn was great. You know, it is what it is. Like I said earlier, I'm good with Owens heel or face. So overall, I think it was a decent Raw, and I think this week it was better than SmackDown. But that's my opinion. What did you guys think of that match?
I thought it was good. Good ending too.
I'll put that as match of the night.
Yeah, because I think, you know, as they teased it last week, and you thought maybe they were going to slow burn it a little bit more, but you know, the frustration was building with Kevin Owens. When, what was it, Seth bumped into him on the apron last week during the match with Big E in the main event, which caused all kinds of stuff. And then Kevin Owens apologized. Now this week, not so apologetic. We've seen Kevin Owens do this kind of damage before. Like, it was very reminiscent to me of when he attacked Sami Zayn after Sami won the title.
100%.
That NXT title. And it just, you know, they which is fine. Listen, if you're gonna have somebody dust off a greatest hits, there's nothing like you know, picking a moment like that and then recreating it on Raw several years later with a different opponent. You know, it did what it needed to do. It reestablished Kevin Owens as the definite. Whereas last week there was kind of question about maybe he was going to be like a reluctant kind of like, I don't want to be a bad guy, but bad things are happening kind of. No, he is a full-fledged bad guy as of this week, and he is apparently the new number one contender or new potential challenger for Big E, or is trying to establish himself as a new challenger for Big E.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the way it's headed. Which will be a great. It'll be a great match.
Yeah,
100%.
Both of those guys can go. Kevin Owens, listen, if Kevin Owens is trying to stay with WWE, then he needs to have a hell of a match with Big E, which he's going to.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. On the flip side, if he's going to AEW, he needs to have a hell of a match with Big E so that when he debuts in 90 days, people still remember, hey, he had that awesome match. And now here's this guy who just came off a hot run. You know, another former title contender making his way to AEW. So
real quick, Vince, before we take this home,
yeah,
just for clarification, is Survivor Series the end date of Kevin Owens' contract?
I'm hearing Rumble time, January.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing.
Yeah, for him, Gargano and Sami Zayn is like January, mid-January, which we don't know what any of them are doing. You'd think.
I'll tell you what,
Gargano would.
if they want to keep Owens in WWE to re-sign a contract, give him the Rumble win and have him go against Big E at Mania.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Owens has shown that when given the platform, he can have a big time main event match. Even that match that Vince McMahon didn't like at WrestleMania, it opened up WrestleMania in Orlando, I think it was, Jericho against KO, and like Vince McMahon shook his head, and I'm like, fuck you, man, that's one of my favorite matches that I've seen live, and to see the reaction that Vince gave that match, like, no, dude, Kevin Owens goes out there and puts on a hell of a show whenever he's given the opportunity. So
yeah,
whether it's the Rumble, whether it's whatever the case is, looking forward to see what he can do.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the top of the hour. Vinny Mac, take us home, my friend.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on another edition of the War Report Pro Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by TagMeADate.com. You can follow us on social media at TagMeADate. That's TagMeADate, no spaces. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, etc., etc. Just search for the username TagMeADate. If you prefer the audio version instead of the video version of the podcast, you can go to your podcast app of choice, such as Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, or Google Play Podcasts. You can search for either the War Report or Tag Me a Date. Either way, you'll see our podcast come up when you do the search. You can hit subscribe. The audio version goes up about an hour after the live stream or within the hour of the live stream ending. Our live streams are 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Eastern time. We did just go through a time change. So if you were listening live, congratulations.
Let's do
You
the
figured
time
out how to
warp
change
again.
your clocks, right? It's just a jump to the left. We're just gonna do it every Tuesday, man. So check out the YouTube page where we stream live. You can search Tag Me a Date in the YouTube window. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. You can go to Twitch. Twitch is just twitch.tv/War Report, all one word, twitch.tv/War Report. We also live stream on Periscope and Facebook. So,
yep.
I mean, we're all over. Yeah, we're going to be putting the podcast up on Facebook. We've got to get some graphics and stuff ready for that.
Yep.
But we're going to have the podcast up on like a real, like, Facebook now has the ability for you to post your podcast as part of like the Facebook feed. So
yeah,
look out for that on your Facebook. Again, search for the War Report, search for Tag Me Date. You will find one of us or the page or whatever, and we'll direct you there. One more thing before we get going. You may have heard this in the news, and we won't dwell on it too long because I know Steve's got to go to dinner. Rest in peace to former WCW Tag Team Champion Judy Bagwell. Very sad to hear because when I was a kid, I mean, first of all, Judy Bagwell, I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah,
she was with it. She
and not an actress, like the real deal.
No,
that was really
was
like that was
I mean,
that was
got
Judy.
On that fucking forklift. She won the tag titles with Rick Steiner. Like, and you wish you had a mom like Judy Bagwell because that woman called Vince McMahon. She said, "My son is not getting a big enough push. You better fucking push my son."
Yep.
Has anybody's mother ever called Vince McMahon and yelled at him for not giving their son a push? That is mother of the fucking century.
I tried.
And part of the reason why he's no longer employed with the WWE.
Right. I know, but still, she stood up. She stood by her son, and I appreciate that. And especially, she lost her battle with dementia, which is very just near and dear to me as well. I've lost a lot of family members, the same thing.
Me
and
too.
I can imagine what she was going through, and what Buff was going through. It's a tragedy on both sides because not only did he lose his mother, but he had to kind of go through that process of watching her.
And 78 is young.
Yeah, 78 is young for something
way
like that.
too young.
So rest in peace, Judy Bagwell. God bless you. And Buff Bagwell, of course, he's been through some hard times recently. We're thinking of him as well. But just like Judy Bagwell was just somebody who was present in my mind. She was a presence in WCW, man. And
yeah,
just
100%.
I wanted her selfishly. I wanted to see her show up with Sue at AEW, like Sue's van, and then Judy Bagwell's in the passenger seats.
I'm glad that you remembered to bring that up because I forgot, and me as well. I was a big fan of Judy Bagwell.
I wanted to end the show. I figured I would end the show on that, just so if people weren't aware, or if they wanted to like send their regards to Buff on social media or whatever. And I'm sure there's probably a charity or an organization that you can donate to for Alzheimer's awareness. I think Purple Elephant is one of them. There's quite a few. So, all right. Hate to bring everybody down, but we just want. I did want to acknowledge Judy Bagwell, especially. God, it's just it's so sad. 78. That's very young for, somebody nowadays. We hope everybody lives to 80 or 100 now. So, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Live stream starts at 6 p.m. on Eastern time on Facebook, Twitch, etc. Otherwise, we will catch you next time. Have a nice week, everybody. See you on Tuesday.